In my quick 10-month absence, I realized I missed a lot. Like, this must have been a couple months ago at this point, but was no one gonna tell me that Franz Ferdinand got shot? Also, more importantly, I never did anything for my 500 subscriber special. So to thank everyone who stuck around while I was gone, I'm doing it now. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out with a bunch more courses, and I've been forced recently by my sister to play a ton, so today I'll be ranking all the courses in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The courses will be ranked on how much I like them. This list will be entirely my opinion, of course, with a minor cameo of the analysis you've come to expect from me. Everything up to DLC Booster Pack 2 will be considered, as that's the most recent wave of courses to come out. I'll be splitting each section of the ranking into tiers F through S tier, so you can all get a better idea about how I feel about each of the tracks. Without further holdups, let's get into it. Cause if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of these. F tier. These are the courses that I actually dislike to play on. If you pick these while playing with me, I will audibly moan and start talking about why natural selection should still exist. 64. EXCITEBIKE Arena. It's a big oval with ramps you can trick off of. Apparently, the course is random every time with different mud spots and ramps. Because the track is so violently simplistic, it doesn't really matter either way. 63. Baby Park. But it's chaotic and there are items flying everywhere. It's still an oval that you can drive around 7 times. I never have a balanced race here. Either I front run first place the entire time, or I get hit a million times and end up in last. It was just okay in Double Dash 2. 62. Toad Circuit. You know how you know this course is bad? They let Toad own it. The only other things they let Toad own is a factory and a turnpike so his workers can get there. I'd be more lenient on Toad Circuit because it was the first course in Mario Kart 7, but they brought it back as DLC, and it's just incredibly boring to drive. There's a glider ramp, I guess. 61. Mario Circuit 3. I'm not sure why Nintendo is dead set on all the tracks from the original Mario Kart looking the exact same as they did 30 years ago. Mario Circuit 3 is a prime example of this. It's got the turns, but the entire course is completely flat. At least there's some fun mushroom cuts, and the mentioned turns are pretty sharp. 60. N64 Rainbow Road. It's really pretty, and it's cool that the train in the back shoots coins on the track. And that's about it though. Most of the road is long, wide turns followed by straightaways. The road is super wide too, so there's not really a risk of falling off or getting bumped. 59. Mario Circuit. Just like N64 Rainbow Road, most of Mario Circuit is just wide turns or straightaways. I guess I appreciate the Piranha plants and Goombas. Honestly, I'm grasping at straws here. 58. Sherbert Land. Sherbert Land isn't quite as bad as the other tracks in F tier. At the same time, I don't think there's a single fun part about this track. There's only, wow, I'm underwater and having no fun. Or, drifting around these freezies is aggressively mediocre. D tier. Either these courses are kinda bad or wildly boring. Picking these courses gets a side-eye from me on the first offense. Twice in a row gets a, you actually like this one? You are a boring, yet tolerable human being. 57. Dry Desert. Desert tracks are always the most mediocre offerings of any Mario Kart game. Dry Desert has a mini oasis and a big sand pit that makes it stand out from the F tiers. You can also skip a huge part of this track with the off-road and good items. Other than that, I don't see much of a reason to race on this. 56. Twisted Mansion. I'm actually surprised that Twisted Mansion ranked low. It has a good theme, some decent obstacles, and a mandatory underwater section. Well, let's talk about water, shall we? In Mario Kart 7 and 8, going underwater makes you slower while gliding is generally faster. It makes sense, as many courses will use water as your punishment for falling off the track. You still get to race while just being slower. It's a perfect trade-off. That being said, mandatory water sections suffer because of this. Racing feels much more sluggish underwater, and it really kills the pacing of the track having to do that every single lap. In the case of Twisted Mansion, the track doesn't even need a water section here thematically, so it feels especially egregious. 55. Tokyo Blur. Tokyo Blur is one of the Mario Kart tracks of all time. I appreciate the lap-changing gimmicks all the tour tracks have, but Tokyo Blur doesn't do it correctly. The best of the tour tracks make each lap unique and fun, so that if any of them were repeated 3 times, the course would still stand on its own. If any of Tokyo's laps were repeated, it would be straight in F tier. 54. Bone Dry Desert. Another desert track with the aesthetics of a desert track. That's it, I have nothing else to say. 53. Toad's Turnpike. Not sure why anyone would want the experience of driving in New York, but here's Toad's Turnpike. I've always had a personal vendetta against traffic courses ever since Moonview Highway struck the fear of God in me. How is 6-year-old me supposed to know that bomb cars weren't a real thing? This one is pretty well designed though. There are cars to trick off of or glide, and if you don't want to deal with the traffic, the anti-gravity is there, although it is slower. 52. High Sundae. The first and only original track of the DLC is worrisome. Most of this course is tricking from platform to platform in anti-gravity. Because of the anti-gravity, each jump is very floaty and gives you more than enough time to readjust on top of slowing things down. If normal gravity was here instead, it would have been a lot more fun lining yourself up before each ramp. As is now, High Sundae might be the only Mario Kart 8 course that suffers from the game's main gimmick. 51. Mario Kart Stadium. For a first track, this ain't too bad. It's actually interesting to see a course that's primary purpose is for Mario Kart racing. Then again, it is a first course. Turns are lenient, the design is standard, nothing surprises me. 50. Animal Crossing. Yo, Animal Crossing got 4 different variants and it still kinda sucks. It's cool to see the different obstacles for each season, the snowman of winter or the leaf piles of fall. None of the 4 variants provide enough of a change from the base course, however. In fact, they highlight how standard the track actually is. 49. Water Park. I suppose Water Park may have been the better segment to talk about underwater sections in. As the name suggests, half the track is water. At least the water here makes sense, and at the end of the track there's an interesting shortcut that is just a cut through a teacups attraction. The fact that this is one of the only shortcuts in the whole game that actively changes while driving gives Water Park extra points. 48. Choco Mountain. Anything is better than the original Choco Mountain, which takes the second place title of the brownest thing I've ever seen, only losing to me after standing in the sun for 10 minutes. The addition of a glider section and, less Choco makes this a massive improvement over the original. C tier. I don't mind playing on any of the following courses. Picking one of the upper C tiers might even get a nod of approval from me. I will invite you to play Mario Kart again, as long as you don't pick any of the lower tiers the rest of the time. 47. GBA Mario Circuit. Nintendo did not have to go this hard on the GBA tracks. Along with the added anti-gravity section, there's bonus shortcuts and extra theming, as the side part right before the finish line now looks like a pit stop, bundles of tires included. 46. Moo Moo Meadows. Realistically, this course should be lower, but guess which Mario Kart I grew up on? 45. Sweet Sweet Canyon. See, just adding an S would make so many of the desert courses better. Sweet Sweet Canyon is a cute race with its split paths and excellent theming. I do wonder how disgusting it would be to go into an ocean of syrup though. 44. Shroom Ridge. Shroom Ridge is the best traffic course in the series. The others tend to have uninteresting layouts because the traffic tries to make up for it. Shroom Ridge actually has interesting bends, along with the feeling of driving in upstate New York. There's still cars you can trick off of, although none of the gliding cars exist, and at the end of the track, a gust of wind acts as a last-minute shortcut. Notice how there's not any bomb cars either. 43. Toad Harbor. Now when I made that joke earlier about Toad only owning 3 courses, I completely forgot about Toad Harbor. But clearly this is just San Francisco, and I'm pretty sure California owns that, so I'm still right. It's a pleasant drive with some good choices between a fast route and 2 items, as well as an anti-gravity section that lets you get away from the trolleys. 42. Sydney Sprint. Speaking of fake cities, here comes Sydney Sprint, another track saved by the different laps gimmick. Lap 1 has a section where you're driving towards the backsides of the ramps, which doesn't really add much. Lap 2 is much longer, a whole minute long driving normally, which I appreciate, considering many races in Mario Kart can feel very short. The last lap is definitely the best, with an added glider section and the right-facing ramps. 41. New York Minute. Where is M&M World and why can't I drive in it? This is a decent track, especially that last section of the last lap. There are also some branching pathways that provide a shortcut or a double item box depending on what you need at the moment. It's smart game design. 40. Kalimari Desert. When they first announced Kalimari Desert, I thought to myself, why? but they really improved it unlike in Mario Kart 7. Going into the train tracks through the tunnel was a great idea for a lap, as everyone's always been curious of what's inside there. It's legitimately cramped in a game where most roads are wide and forgiving. And honestly, the long drifting sessions don't bug me as much anymore because it's broken up with better track design. B tier. Yep, we're already in B tier. Mario Kart 8 has the best selection of tracks in the entire series. I like racing on all of these courses, and it's where a majority of the game's courses land. If you pick one of these, you're definitely coming to the next Mario Kart session. You may also get a flirtatious look from me while we're racing. 39. Shy Guy Falls. Shy Guy Falls has a really cool use of anti-gravity where you drive up a waterfall. The Shy Guys sing along with the music while mining. It's all very cohesive thematically. Couple that with a nice, skillful shortcut at the end and you've got a solid track. 38. Paris Promenade. Paris is probably the best out of all the city courses, and damn it, it feels bad saying anything good about the French. The first and second lap are the same, and I wouldn't mind if it just stayed like that. However, the third lap switches things up just enough to push Paris into B tier. I think in general, none of the city courses are all that great, just because of their location. I can drive through any of these cities in real life, while last time I drove through a water park, a game of Renegade Roundup started. 37. Sunshine Airport. When Mario Kart 8 first came out 9 years ago, this was definitely one of my favorites, with its strong theming and enjoyable gameplay. Maybe because I've played it so many times, but I've fallen out of it. The track layout is pretty basic, and the anti-gravity section, while fun, kinda has no reason to be there. Like, we're not even driving on a plane. What is a detailless metal strip doing in an airport airspace? Still, I would feel bad putting it any lower than this. 36. Thwomp Ruins. Ancient Ruins is such an interesting theme. The fact that these rolling wheels are what caused the blockade to fall down and reveal a glider ramp is just perfect. It also presents a problem where, depending on what time you make it there, you might have to weave through 2 obstacles to get into the fastest route. And if you haven't noticed yet, a shortcut that doesn't require a mushroom and takes skills is always a plus in my book. 35. WARIO'S Stadium. Contrary to Sunshine Airport, I originally had the stadium way lower, and I moved it up over time. Fun fact, the crowd actually cheers for you as you jump through the fire rings. It's the little details like that that really make me love this game. With its mix of every type of driving the game has to offer, WARIO'S Stadium is an underrated classic. 34. Cheep Cheep Beach. There are a lot of interesting decisions to be made here. You can go high for speed or into the water for items. Having a mushroom lets you cut next to crabs, while having no boosting items means jumping from ramp to ramp. If this place had a more interesting layout, you would have had a killer track. 33. Donut Plains 3. The one SNES track Nintendo actually tried on is unsurprisingly good. The race is simple, but there's a ton of cuts you can do in the water to keep it interesting. Just look how the 200cc world record demolishes any semblance of a proper line. If I learn this route, I'll bump the course up a few more slots. 32. Super Bell Subway. Just listen to the music and tell me to place it lower. What a banger. 31. Hyrule Circuit. The highlight of this map is definitely the Master Sword, which opens and closes occasionally. Since it's not open all the time, when the sword starts to close, you have to choose whether or not to go through it. It's the fastest route, but if you don't make it, you'll be stuck for a long time. Okay, I covered the Animal Crossing track and the Zelda track. Seems like I'm missing Mercedes-Benz motorway. 30. SNES Rainbow Road. What sets Rainbow Road apart from the other unchanged SNES tracks is the fact that it was actually fun to play on the SNES. The complete flatness works because the sides are completely open, just waiting for you to fall off. I will say this one has the least pizzazz out of the Rainbow Roads. 29. Cloudtop Cruise. I feel like I should like this course more than I do. It's got a cute vine shortcut at the end with a thundercloud section that has dynamic music. Then again, the opening turns are pretty whatever, and once you know how the lightning works, there's no danger at all. Points for the effort and the Gusty Garden Galaxy reference that tugs at my heart. 28. WARIO'S Gold Mine. I kinda like the idea that Wario, in an attempt to become richer, decides to open a gold mine and start ludicrously extracting gold from the Mario world, but at the same time there is so much fucking gold everywhere that it doesn't matter and none of it makes him richer because Wario simply does not understand the basic laws of supply and demand. Why would people want gold if I can just go down a pipe and get 100 doubloons in the 27 Grumble Volcano? The original dynamic lap course. Parts of the stage will fall off as each lap passes. This is one of the most hectic feeling races, especially on the third lap. Unfortunately, you have to race 2 laps to get there. 26. Sky Garden. The GBA had some great tracks apparently. Sky Garden is just a race that flows so well. Smooth gameplay from turn to turn. There are some high-risk shortcuts like these beanstalk leaves that are so bouncy you might just fall off. It's an enjoyable pick all around. 25. Dolphin Shoals. I don't like racing here. You don't like racing here. We both know why this track is this high. Listen. Find me the man who played on that saxophone. 24. Yoshi Valley. I thought to just make a Yoshi noise for this segment, but maybe I should describe why I actually like things on my game design YouTube channel. You see, I like that this course has the most pads out of any Mario Kart track. I don't like that once you find the fastest way, there's no reason to go anywhere else. I like that the fastest way is a narrow bridge that people have to fight over. I don't like that after the bridge, there's not really a ton going on. Yeah, so 24th place is a good spot. 23. DK Jungle. The best crossover course for a character who's in the game. The glider ramp by the temple is another skill-based shortcut that I love. Everyone wants to take it, so you feel like an absolute villain placing bombs or bananas there. The ending glider section is fun because it has pillars that look like me when I see girl. A tier. You pick an A tier course as your gaze meets mine. Suddenly, it's not only Mario who's racing, but also my insatiable heart. I start to lean in, eyes closed. 22. TICK-TOCK Clock. TICK-TOCK Clock, which is one letter away from the easiest dick joke of all time, is a course type I would like to see more of. It's based on the level from Super Mario 64 and the whole thing sells the theme. You go over clock hands, dodge pendulums, and drive on gears. Even the music sounds like a ticking clock. 21. Wild Woods. Wild Woods, which is one word away from being a famous golf player. Okay, I promise I won't do this for the rest of them. I'm a sucker for courses with rushing water underneath you. There's something about bumping everyone from the center of the course so you get the most speed that's exhilarating. Again, having split pads where one is harder and faster to stay on is good game design, and leads to situations where you have to take the risk to stay in first place. 20. Royal Raceway. The highest ranking basic type course, Royal Raceway executes on everything it sets out to do. Sure, it doesn't have a crazy theme, particularly standout music, or an interesting gimmick. After saying that out loud, I have some second thoughts. 19. Cheeseland. Cheeseland hits you out of nowhere. You look at it. Another GBA course. Can't be that amazing. And then it pounds you with tight turns, cuts, and little cheese holes you can trick off of. Cheeseland is the one good desert course. Or maybe it's the best dessert course. 18. Mushroom Gorge. Hot take, Mushroom Gorge was not even that good in Mario Kart Wii. Maybe I'm jaded because my sister always used to be better than me in this specific race, and yes, that is the reason. Mario Kart 8's version does feel a little better than Wii, I will say, with the addition of a glider mushroom, but somehow it is the same wonky physics as in Wii. 17. Snowland. What a creative name for a course. There is snow and land. Also, there's tight corners and tons of places for creative mushroom usage, along with an ultra shortcut that's hard to pull off. GBA retro tracks stay winning. 16. Bowser's Castle. It's Bowser's Castle, baby, what else do I need to say? You got the huge Bowser statue crashing from above while the road shakes underneath you. Pillars of lava shoot up as you precariously fly through the air. One of the best Bowser's Castles for sure. 15. Mute City. The best feature of the F-Zero tracks are these panels that give you 10 coins in 2 seconds. Immediately you are racing at your full speed, hitting boost panel after boost panel. People say they need to make another F-Zero game, but who cares if we can keep getting Mario Kart tracks by sapping the life from that dead franchise. If only this track could speak. 14. Coconut Mall. Now, I actually like Coconut Mall. Gotta be one of the best tracks from Wii. The Mario Kart 8 version is just not it. The whole point of the original was the fact that you were racing through a shopping mall. Here, the whole place has been changed to look much more like a racetrack, defeating the original premise. Despite the worst looking escalators, cars, and overall lost charm, it's still Coconut Mall. 13. Waluigi Pinball. I get it. On the DS, Waluigi Pinball was head and shoulders the best track. I mean, what even was the competition back then? Fucking figure 8 circuit? Waluigi Pinball today still holds up. Having a race take place in a pinball machine is genius, and the music still goes even though, it was already in Wario Stadium before. It's not bad by any means, every course above this one is simply superior. 12. Ice Outpost. Okay, I swear I'm not being controversial just for the sake of it. Ice Outpost is the surprise gem of the century. Most of it is anti-gravity with 2 winding pads you can switch off at any time. The track is littered with these ice blocks you can take as shortcuts. They're legitimately hard to get into on a real race, and once you do, you better not fall off, or you lose a ton of time. Right at the end, there's another jump you can take for last-minute steals. Best part? None of it requires a mushroom. Once you get good at this track, it feels incredible. 11. Neo Bowser City. What a sick idea for a course, a neon cyberpunk city in a downpour. It might be the course I've fallen off the most. It is surprisingly windy with hairpin turns back to back. If this city had a catchier tune in the background, it definitely would have cracked the top 10. S tier. My lawyer has advised me to not describe what would happen if you picked an S tier course. 10. Yoshi Circuit. Out of all the courses in the game, a giant Yoshi cutout is the one that flows the best. You can take a bunch of cuts without mushrooms, even the ones intended for it, especially on 200cc. Boost after boost, drift after drift, there is no course that's more satisfying than Yoshi Circuit. 9. Piranha Plant Slide. I did say I'm a sucker for rushing water. Piranha Plant Slide is such a fun track. It has the one mandatory underwater section I don't mind, and yeah, it's because of the music. A bombastic synth-heavy track with some original 1-2 music thrown in there makes it hard to focus on the racing. 8. Rainbow Road. It's Rainbow Road, how could it not be good? Sure, I ranked the other 2 way lower, but they were the bad Rainbow Road. This map has definitely grown on me. Slowly realizing that you can jump from section to section at the end of the track for shortcuts gains a ton of points in my eyes, and I go for it every race now with mixed results. A space colony is such an interesting idea for a Rainbow Road, and I hope future installments get even more creative with theirs. 7. Dragon Driftway. You feel that? A track based on a random boss from Mario Galaxy 2 is the most recent hope I have to a Mario Galaxy 3. You swerve through the body of the dragon, competing with everyone else for the fastest line. The anti-gravity becomes dangerous as getting bumped could ruin your next big turn. I love waiting as long as possible to see how many Ultra Mini Turbos I can get in one lap. 6. Ribbon Road. The last of the Game Boy Advance passion projects, Ribbon Road is the supreme windy experience. You have to trick off the rippling track, avoid Mecha Koopas, all while hitting some wild curves. Of course, there's some cheeky shroomless shortcuts to take for some great risk and reward. 5. Electrodrome. Electrodrome is one letter away from being a good track name. A huge rager with techno music that changes depending on what path you take. I love the little detail of the floor making noise and lighting up as you speed towards the glider ramp. This is the track I associate most with Mario Kart 8, and I wouldn't be surprised that if in a future game, Electrodome were to be the first in line to come back. 4. Mount Wario. Out of all the things Wario owns, a mountain should probably be the most valuable. Although, Wario's organ harvester may just not have been released yet. It's a one-lap track done right, each section distinct from the last, its own theming and music track, all tied together by the behemoth that is Mount Wario. Just listen to the guy on the violin treading as if he's being threatened with a trip to the unreleased Wario property. 3. Ninja Hideaway. Genuinely blew me out of the water. You can go up the stairs or stay down below, run through these cutouts, trick off the spike trap, fly up through the beams, or snake through the sewers. You can ride down the roof or fly through the rafters. You even get a new path exclusive to laps 2 and 3 with a glider ramp right before the finish line. There is never a dull race, and although the laps don't actually change, Ninja Hideaway is a fantastic course that changes with every single decision. 2. Big Blue. A giant one-lap monster based on the F-Zero games. It's got the rushing water, the huge time saves, and the skill-expressive racing. It is a ballistic track that demands every reaction for a perfect race. Electrifying music blasts in the background with a saxophone solo to rival Dolphin Shoals. What more could you possibly ask for from a Mario Kart track? Probably more music,